Welcome to the UpLevel Podcast, our brilliant panel of elders for our 5th season of Wisdom from our Elders.
We're excited to invite back some of our previous elders, and we've got some new ones. So we're going to jump right in to our first question. And Caroline, we'd love for you to start with, what is your definition, or how are you holding elderhood?
My name is Caroline Hall. In the first CTI workshop I ever led with Cynthia Lloyd-Darst, I was shy. I was looking around and thinking, do they like me? What do I have to do to make them like me? And Cynthia said, Caroline, you are the host of this party. Your job is to make people feel welcome so that it brings out your best, and in the process brings out the best in you. And I hold a torch of our job as coactive coaches and leaderships is to bring out the best in other people in service of what we're here to do together.
And from that, how are you defining elderhood?
It's about sustainability. That first workshop was 26 years ago. I'm still going strong on the concept. The shape of it changes, but the fact that people want to rise to your high opinion of them will always remain.
Beautiful. Who's taken the baton? What's your relationship to elderhood in this moment, or how are you defining it?
I see eldership as a stage of life. So I can apply that stage no matter what arena in my life that I give focus to. And I think the defining feature of eldership is letting go of needing to prove my worth, and instead looking at how I want to contribute. And furthermore, how do I want to contribute to the next generation to ensure that whoever the baton is passed to has what they need to carry the torch forward.
Thank you, Deborah Colman.
Thanks. I'll jump in. I'm Friedrichs, coming in from Barcelona, Spain. And for me, thinking of myself as an elder, it came upon me slowly, just like as life goes on. And then all of a sudden, awareness of, wow, I'm here and I'm in service. There's a lot of, I think what Deborah, you said, there's a lot of, I am now in service, and people, I didn't start with me. People were in service for me so I could learn, and me now being an elder, I can pass that on to other people. And so that just is a new stage in my life now.
I'll go after that. New stage in life. I didn't realize I was an elder until these two told me. How did I get here? I don't feel like I'm here yet, so it's quite new. But when as I feel the space, it's like a letting go. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm a conduit and it's passing on to the future. And then perhaps just sharing my lived experience and letting the future generation sort of, mix it together in the way that they feel is contextually relevant.
Thank you, Joni Mar.
Okay, so my name is Dori, and I'm calling from Tel Aviv today. And for me, elderhood is a paradox. Because on the one hand, it's about owning my experience and my wisdom and everything that I bring. And on the other hand is also not knowing, not staying attached to what I know and the wise way, because everything changes so fast. Everything is so volatile and uncertain. So there is that element of staying relevant, of staying here, of what is it to bring wisdom now versus a year ago, even a week ago, because everything is just topsy-turvy. So it's a paradox.
My sense is that we could go around and do another circle and ask ourselves, answer the same question, and we'd come up with a more nuanced or a different answer. But I appreciate the question because it's giving me the opportunity to articulate what is eldership, and how do I want to engage in this phase of my life.
I think we're going to go a little bit deeper into that as we go into stewardship, because we want to start to make some connections between stewardship and eldership and leadership, all the things, the good things that we're here for. So let's start exploring this word, this idea of stewardship. Who wants to take a crack at that?
A crack. So I have noticed in the course of being in coactive world for a quarter century that there are so many more things that pull our attention. And when you go and see a family having a picnic, they're all on their phones and they're not talking to each other. So I have this stand around relationship, and that relationship is heart to heart and eye to eye and not text to text. But how do I stay relevant and not just be fuddy-duddy and ignore what's happening in front of me, but be able to carry the power of relationship so they're willing to put their phones down more often? I mean, I have 5 grandchildren who are in their 20s. And they're all like that. And I don't want to date myself, but at the same time, I don't want to let go and join the phone crowd.
I'd like to go after that, Caroline. It's about relevance, and it's like a bridge, bringing our experience and our wisdom, and then again, what are the threads that they can bring forward that are valuable, enduring, and we can entrust them with? So how do we influence that?
So part of stewardship is being the bridge. And what Caroline, what I hear you saying is embodying the work, being the work, not just say teaching it or talking about it, but embodying it.
Yeah.
Caroline, as you were talking and you used the word fuddy-duddy, I laughed because I think at some point in our remote past, that's what people would call us at this age. We're fuddy-dudders. And I think that we're all now, having arrived at this place, that my perspective of being here is not being a fuddy-duddy, but being vital, being alive, could still have so much to contribute. And the question of stewardship has me ask myself, what do I want to steward? What do I want to bring forward? And I think the bottom line is I want to bring forward what it's like to be in, to use the lingo, coactive relationship, positive, productive, but compassionate and respectful relationships with one another, because the world is such that I think the relationship matters. Each of us matters. And I look around and I often find myself feeling hopeless. And what keeps me hopeful is our capacity to create vibrant, compelling relationship. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want to steward. That's what I am stewarding.
Beautiful.
Here.
I'd like to pipe in here about this stewardship, and then what I'm hearing, there's like a care, like we're taking care of something. We have something. We've, like you, Caroline, I've been at this for a quarter of a century, and though I'm not the pioneer, I am a pioneer. I'm not the ones who started all this. I had the great privilege of working with those pioneers. But we're holding something. We're nurturing something. And in this case, we're nurturing something that's really precious that came to us called coaching. And then we got engaged in it and engaged other people in it. And now as a steward, we're carrying that and we're giving it over. We're giving it over to the next generation, to the next leaders in the world, so that they have this capacity to relate to each other in a more human way, I think.
Hmm. So for me, if elderhood is a stage or an identity, I guess stewardship is the behavior.
Hmm.
And I would add that for me, it's turning my experience into wisdom that shapes leaders. It's not just about coaching, not me being a great coach, but how can I use everything that I've learned to date to leave a meaningful, lasting impact in the world? Like making a difference.
Mm. This is gold.
As a
This is
as a
such gold.
coach, when I let someone know the services I'm going to provide, it's a number of sessions, etc. What I don't put in my list of services is I'm going to provide you with the capacity to create coactive relationship. And right now, that's what it's all about. I don't really care about as much about what they want to achieve in their life. It's how do I create a relationship with them, give them an experience of being in a coactive relationship, so then they have the capability to replicate that relationship with others in their lives.
Brilliant.
So
This is
it feels like that's my secret mission that I just shared with you. To help my clients know how to experience relationship, right relationship, and then go out and replicate it with those people in their lives.
Yeah, we shared that mission with you, Deborah. Definitely. Relationship matters almost more than anything else. And what does relationship look like? What are those characteristics? Well, they're the four cornerstones. They're the assumption that all human beings were born whole and creative and capable, and the ability to dance with them instead of push in one direction or another, and the ability to evoke learning and have them move someplace that actually matters to them, that's purpose driven and values driven. And finally, transformation is about having conversations where people have a change of heart or a change of mind, after which nothing looks the same. And you do it as a coach, you do it as a coactive leader, but you also do it as a coactive human being in your community through kindness, through respect, through fascination. That's what we carry.
Yeah. So it's like we're stewarding the being. This is not a profession. We go to work, we do a session, and we turn it on. It's that we're being this way and we're role modeling, and this is how we're influencing the next generation by role modeling.
That leads me to ask, or us to ask, what are your practices that help you to remain those stewards of the being? What personal practices do you each have that support you in that?
Well, okay, I'll start. A lot of the practices, of course, I've learned ways to center myself, ways to get prepared for coaching, all those kinds of things that over the years I've developed. And I didn't always have that. I had to learn and do things the hard way many times. But that's what it takes, right? I mean, you have to go in and work through your fears and fail a lot. And that's what I've learned, and I have to practice positive thinking. I have to practice, not listening to my negative self-talk and things like that, that are constant as I go through changes in my life, and new things come and challenges happen. I have to really learn to manage those things. And so as I've gotten older, it's become simpler. The challenges have also become great.
Those challenges are getting bigger and coming faster. Have you not noticed this?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe that's the sign you've gotten to this age or stage. I would agree with what you're saying, Clark. For me, it's continually being awake and alert to my own transformation. And I don't mean continuing to want to grow or be better or something like that, but I just mean being conscious about becoming who I want to become. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I moved to Boulder, Colorado 4 years ago, and I had grown up here, but I hadn't lived here for 53 years. So the first things to do are to form community. And I joined a hip hop group, which I perform with. I joined a marimba band, which I perform with quite a lot. I learned how to teach gyrotonics, which is an amazing movement system. And I met and married somebody, it turns out, I went to kindergarten with, and we traveled the world making lots of friends.
It's amazing.
So this is the stuff of life. And I figure, go for the joy. Yes, I read the New York Times every morning and say bad words. But there is something else about, I joined the International Cloud Appreciation Society, and I submit a boulder cloud about once a week. So there's just something, what brings you joy and keeps you centered and banishes the shit.
That is some good stewarding right there, because we need more joy on the planet.
Indeed.
But we need more joy, specifically in this moment. Thank you for embodying it, Caroline.
For many years, I was married to my work. And at a great cost. I mean, certainly I don't, do I regret it? It just was. I was married to my work, and as a result, cut myself off from living a more full life, like cultivating a life outside of work. And I think one of the things I'm learning as an elder is to make myself more important than any work that I do, because if I'm not resourced, I'm not going to be able to show up anywhere in my life and have it be meaningful, a meaningful experience. So without being selfish, I'm actually putting myself at the center of my life, and my job is to cultivate joy, joyful experiences for me. If I'm experiencing joy, then that's my way of healing the planet. I really do believe that at this time in life, in humanity, that we need, with all the challenging things that are going on the planet, we need, my way of counterbalancing that in my little world is to create joy and beauty and love. So one of the things that I do is I go out on the street. I live in an urban environment in Toronto, and I take pictures of perfect strangers. I'll approach people. I'll have a short little interaction with them. Sometimes all I have is 30 seconds. But my goal is to go beyond the artifice and to capture something about them that's real. And that's another way in which I'm doing my part to heal the planet.
And your work is beautiful, and it's won awards. It's been featured in different galleries, and it's been wonderful to witness you take this craft on and bring joy in this way, Deborah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I attribute a lot of the results due to my training as a coach, that I've been trained to go beyond the superficial. I've been trained to instantly create meaningful connections. So humanizing our connections.
For me, it's two things that are coming up. The first one is absolutely to love what I do. Years ago, I decided if something comes my way and it's not a shit, yeah, absolutely, then I don't take it. If it's the project or the people, it's not a full body yes, then why do it? Life is too short. So love what you do. And the second one is that we take ourselves awfully seriously. So kind of lighten up, not take myself so seriously and, just stay foolish, stay clueless, as our friend Eric Kohner like to say, we're very significant.
We're enjoying, I know Rachel and I, some moments of silence just to digest this, because it's each of you are dropping such wisdom, and it's important that we receive it and take it in. And we hope the moments of space for our listeners allow that too.
I'd like to say also that part of this eldership is about, someone once told me this many years ago, it's not a matter of how much you say, but it's what you say, the impact that you're having with your words. And I think in an earlier versions of myself, I thought I needed to, if I wasn't talking, I was invisible. So now, 25 years later, I now know that it's not about how much I say, it's about what we say and the impact we have with our words and behaviors. And I think that's a telltale sign of eldership, that we don't have to prove our worth, and it's contributing with less is more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that you're saying that. I'm remembering a lesson I got from Jeff Jacobson a long time ago when I was noticing how quickly he formed relationship with people. And I was hesitant until I could find out if we had common threads before I stepped forward. And Jeff said, that they already like you, right? They already like you and you have nothing to prove. And those words changed my life, which is just assume we're already in relationship and we like each other. Make that be the starting point rather than the results of the little approaching behavior. And it has served me well, and we've been teaching it pretty well for a long time. The other thing I wanted to say was I'm noticing for you, Deborah, for me, and I'm sure for others of you, self-expression, according to your values, has always been a theme that isn't necessarily voiced that way, but it has always been in CTI's curriculum. It always have. We teach people to use themselves fully in as many dimensions of life as they can.
I'm interested in hearing more moments like what Caroline shared around a colleague or maybe an elder of yours or a mentor that had a significant impact. And you don't need to share their name unless you feel called to, but any other stories like that want to come forward right now?
Which one to choose from? Because I think your question is brilliant, because we were mentored, we were championed. We didn't arrive at this stage without people having our backs. So there are many, many stories, and the one that floats to the top is Karen Kinsey House one day said to me, "Deborah, do you know the difference between knowing and sensing?" And I said yes, and I had no idea what she was talking about. But the opportunity, the invitation that she extended to me, or I extended to myself, was, what is the difference between knowing and sensing? And I lived basically a year with that inquiry, and it was a game changer in my life because I don't need to know empirically. I don't need the data. I don't need to know before I act. And so she gave me permission to honor that intuitive intelligence and trust myself. And so it's just been it's made a huge difference still to this day. There are lessons I've learned that have stayed with me since I learned them.
Interesting you bring up Karen Kimsey House because her name also came up for me. So this was my second leadership program that I was leading, and she did a certain demo that we just decided she's going to do something around lids, and she hadn't done that for a while, and it wasn't working. But I was just sitting there, and it was kind of like my second program, and like, oh God, Karen Kimsey House, but it's not working. So it ended, and then she sent everyone to a break, and she kind of grabs me and say, okay, and come, and we closed the door, and she said to me, now be honest with me. Did that demo suck? Did it fail? It's a very embarrassing moment for me, and like, well, kind of. It didn't really work. And she said, well, why didn't you come in? Why didn't you sort of help me or stop or do something? And I was like, because you're Karen Kimsey House. You practically wrote the book. And so I'm telling this because when I mentor or JLT or steward or whatever you can call people, I sometimes say the story or I'm reminded that don't wait for the leaders, the people you look up to know it all. Yeah. You never know when it's your time, and when this steward, or whoever you're looking up to, actually they don't know, and it's your time to come in. Yeah. And bring it. Don't wait.
Brilliant.
That was a big lesson.
Follow the urge.
I don't know if this is true for all of you, but it seems the lessons that we've been given and gifted with become the lessons we want to pass forward. At least that's been my experience. Things that I've learned, I've been supported or failed at, become the very thing that I want to ensure the next generation doesn't have to repeat or has to go through the journey, but maybe with a little bit more ease and grace around it.
Yeah. Yeah. There is this basic thing of coactivity, which is we're all in this together. And when the going gets hard, we often forget that we have partners to do it with us. And I would bet that everyone on this screen has a host of war stories of when things didn't work. And at first we went, and then went, come on in, and figured it out. And I think part of elderhood is you have seen it, you have done it all. So nothing really is going to perturb you. And as long as you can lean in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, going back, and I've been quite blessed to have mentors in my life. I can go back to my university days. I had a professor who mentored me into my first job in Washington, D.C., and that was 40 years ago. And then I had another mentor when I lived in Portland, Oregon, and then had another mentor, Chuck Roppel, who is also a CTI leader, and he was a mentor for me. And then one thing that strikes me about all these people, and there are many, many more, but those three come to mind, is their generosity. It was like they just gave. One mentor approached me in a gym and just suddenly became my mentor and became part of my life and started introducing me to people that I have friendships with now. And they didn't ask for anything except for my presence and my willingness to open up to them. And that's what I want to, it's it's shown me the way of being to give that back. Like it doesn't, I want to also be generous and give back to anybody, really, but especially young people who are just starting out in this profession and their roles and whatever they're doing.
I'm going to build on that because as I look around this room here, all four of you elders were my mentors. Caroline led my fulfillment course. I mean, I was just like wide-eyed and wow, this elegant, beautiful, articulate woman. Yeah, I want to learn from you. And then Deborah, you were my first trainer. And then Dori and Clark, I think you were actually on the audition team. I had to audition twice, actually. You guys are tough.
Oh, yeah.
But each of you knew your stuff and could just really do everything on your own, but you gave space. You gave space for me to wrestle with it, to fall, and then you were right there so that, I didn't crash and burn. And to me, that's really a beautiful modeling of eldership.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make sure we're safe and that we land the plane, but you're going to give me the controls. And I remember Caroline being so intimidated the first time we led together. And I think that might have been when we were collecting bras. And we collected 400 bras in that class to,
how could I forget that?
We need some context, Joni.
The point is, yes, okay. So we were collecting, we were doing this drive to collect bras for young women in Africa because they're vulnerable if they don't have undergarments. And in that one class, and I think it might have been in Vancouver, Caroline, we had all these people that weren't even in our course that came from the community and brought all these bras. And you were so playful and rebellious, which was the antithesis of how I'd seen you in fulfillment. So to see your range and that self-expression you had mentioned earlier was like freeing. And you created great safety for me to be more of myself. And I'll just say for me as a diaspora, belonging is a big thing. And it's very tricky to not assimilate and to be myself when I don't see a role model. So I just really am grateful for the representation of all of you being yourselves and creating the space. I'm just very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Joni. It feels like that's stewardship right there. You just summed it up so beautifully. Yeah,
not to mention, Joni, initiating the East with CTI, bringing CTI to China, Singapore, I'm not sure where, but you've definitely opened up a pathway for CTI to take root in the East. I just want to say that's part of your legacy.
Thank you. And I want to make sure I give credit to Caroline because she actually was in Singapore first, I believe.
Yeah.
But you role modeled again for me to open up Hong Kong. So just, we don't know how interconnected we are or the impact we've had. So I really appreciate the sharings. I could just let you know, I noticed.
Yeah, I just want to, make a distinction that feels important to me, Deborah, based on what you're saying, that kind of bringing CTI to the east or to the west or anywhere. And I think that with what's happening in the world today and organizations and systems coming and going and roller coaster, that like it's beyond CTI. It's like it's spreading like coactivity, whether it's in organizations or in families or with women or men or all people from all races and genders. Like, what's next for coactivity, even beyond CTI?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go there. Let's dream a little bit as stewards of this work. What are you sensing and seeing? What is next for this work?
We talk in coactive leadership teaching about the fact that everyone is a leader. Being a leader is not contingent on role or designation. It's noticing where you have opportunities to jump in, serve, and collaborate, and then dismissing thoughts of it's not my place and knowing that it's always your place to jump in and help. And I think knowing that they have power, they have a contribution to make, and their only job is to stay alert and look for where they can serve. And when they have that opportunity, it feels glorious. It feels glorious to have jumped in and contributed, so that everyone is a leader work. It's not, in a little coactive world. We want the whole world to know that that's possible.
I want to build on what you just said here and what Dori said earlier about paradox. And when you asked the question, I thought about leader beside. So coactive, leader beside AI. What could we create? It's like the paradox and the, integration of the both of them.
That's a rich topic.
Oh, yeah.
I have some concern about where the profession's going.
Yeah, let's hear it.
That I see in many places how organizations specifically are finding platforms to outsource their coaching to and paying their coaches at a very reduced rate from what I'm used to. And not only what I'm used to, but it's undermining our service in a very profound way. Someone once mentioned it's the Uberization of coaching. And so what I want my colleagues, peers, students to know is that the service they provide is powerful and is worth charging for. Something about holding on to the integrity of the service we provide is a powerful, essential service and a essential leadership development modality that leaders need. If leaders who are in positions of power, they're in a position where they can change the whole vibration, the whole complexion of an organization and their communities beyond that organization. So I just want us to remember that that our profession is essential and more important now than ever, I believe.
Other than that, because as all of us, we came into coaching, and not a lot of people knew what coaching was. So people would ask, what do you do when you say you're a coach? And then you have to explain it and give examples and all that kind of stuff. And now we live in a world where coaching is really developed, and people really know what coaching is and what it can do, the value it can add to an organization, to a leader, like what you said, Deborah. I also want to say that as the profession has matured, and I'm getting into more mentor coaching, bringing mentoring new coaches to be master certified coaches with the ICF, and I'm seeing that the ICF is getting even more strict with their standards and their exam processes and things like that, so that when you get that certification, it really does mean something. You had to put some energy into getting that credentialing. And I think that's really important, that young coaches coming into the profession honor that and uphold it, because this is what makes people who just call themselves coaches coming out of one day training or weekend training versus people who are really committed to this work. I think that's the difference. I think We're seeing that with the International Coach Federation.
I think there is a distinction here because those brokerage companies that have those coaches do have the 3-day accreditation coaches working there, don't they?
Or
Versus, I'm sorry, Carol.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I had always guessed that you needed to have a valid and robust credential to be hired by the brokering companies, but I may be wrong about that.
I think my experience is, yes, that it's both. They want you to be credentialed, certified at a very high level, but then they're wanting to pay you at a very low level. So there's something about my personal experience was I felt dishonored. And so based on that experience, I want to take a stand for holding on to, what can I say, the wisdom, the importance of my profession.
I can see my co-leader has an urge.
Yeah, well, what other stands do you want the next generation of coaches to take?
Yeah, well, what's coming up for me is reading a interesting book now. It's a little heavy sometimes, but it's good. It's called the Transformation Economy. And it's talking about stages like okay, we're just over the experience economy where people want to have an experience, and really what's next is that actually what people want, what most organizations want is transformation. And to your point, Deborah, is like what's next for coaching. I think maybe it's time to think even beyond the standard coaching, and what is it to be a transformation sort of agent in wherever we go, whether it's coaching maybe to some degree, but elderhood, stewardship, mentorship, definitely the world needs it. And so something's up. I think coaching is definitely there, but I think it's evolving. We can't hold on to what was.
Yeah. Back in the day when Clark and I were in leadership together, we had to buy modems that attached to our phone so we could do this new thing called email. And I don't think the cell phone had been invented yet because we would have a line of people wanting to check in with their families. So now, a quarter century later, the stand that all of us in this profession need to take is people first leadership, people before technology. Yes, technology, of course, has a role. We can't possibly screen it out, but relationship matters. Relationship matters to the sacred human, and relationship gets things done.
I think it's how we're going to partner with AI, because as AI grows at this exponential rate, there is going to be a calling for our work because there's going to be this separation or gulf. It's how do we, again, bridge it? So those of us who are the elders who have seen a lot of this already, we know what is needed. I'm not saying that the newer generation doesn't, but they grew up as a digital generation. Mm-hmm. So we still have something to contribute that they didn't actually know. So again, it's all these interconnections. I think there's a lot of creative ways that we can keep coaching, and maybe not in this format, but keep this witnessing, this presence, this holding a safe and sacred container for people to wrestle with their issues. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's some sort of a hybrid of mentoring, coaching, advising. I'm not sure.
When I came into, it's great, Joni, you have me think about what is the profession becoming. And when I entered the coaching profession, the profession needed to take these competencies and bring them together in a constellation in order, because we had lost, in terms of humanity, we had lost our way in connecting with one another. And I think ultimately these coaching competencies give us the wherewithal to create relationship. Now, or even maybe probably about 10 years ago, I wanted to genericize these skills. I was less interested in birthing or contributing to the birth of the next generation of coaches. I was more interested in go take this technology and use it in your life, and even more so, less interested in having them learn coaching skills and more interested in supporting their evolution as human beings.
Mm.
So now I think what is happening, I see some people, the profession, we need rigor. We need those competencies. We need to be held to a solid reference of competencies, because that's what makes a profession. We're competency based. But I see some of us, maybe myself included, not myself included, holding on to the coaching profession the way it's been. And I think what we need to do is let go of the way it's been, because I think the container of coaching, the way it's been defined, we've outgrown it.
I agree.
And there is something else that's emerging. And I think that as coaches, the next generation learning about what coaching is, they also have to be wildly open to what it's coming and what is evolving, or what the profession is becoming, and what role they will play as coaches. And finally, the last thing I have to say that I've not yet said is our presence matters. So more and more at this stage of eldership, stewardship, my job is just to be completely, fully present to this sacred human being that I have the privilege of speaking with. And I say very little compared to the previous versions of myself. I think, Dori, you reminded me, we have to be humble, and I think the profession has thought so much of ourselves as coaches. I think the time has come just to witness, be present, and allow our clients to find their own way. And in being witnessed and with our presence, we create a field that they can't help but grow.
Mic drop, Deborah. Mic drop. And I think you're helping us start to bring the arc of the conversation to close. And here's the question we're going to pop in that I feel like you answered. What are you personally, each of you, entrusted to carry forward in this profession? How you've lived it, understand it. What are you entrusted to carry forward? And you could go into the coactive model, and skills and contexts and cornerstones, and or anywhere.
For me, it's a combination. Well, the heart of it is you matter. That's what we pay attention to. You matter. Any you in my field of vision and energy matters. And kindness plays into that fully. It's like having a focus on community, be it virtually born or in person. It's going back to what you were saying about presence, Deborah. People know that they matter when they have your full attention, when you ask the next question without it being a leading question, when they can feel the light of your trust and interest. You matter. That's what I'm holding. And by the way, I think for all of us, holding that has been the making of us too.
Clark, what are you entrusted to carry forward in this profession, in this moment?
Coming up for me is a hell of a lot of being. Just, I love what has been said, that we don't have to prove anything now. We get to honor ourselves, honor what we do know and who we are, own it. I think Dori mentioned owning it, and then that in and of itself transmits. And so I want to transmit everything that I am, so that I can be of service. It didn't begin with me. It doesn't end with me. I'm just, I think Joni used that, a conduit. So I just want to be who I am and let that come into me and then out of me to the whoever.
So when Caroline said, anyone within her range matters, I think sometimes as coaches, we're such givers, we forget we matter. So as Deborah, you had said, making sure that we're filled up so that who we're being makes a difference. How we're being, how we're showing up. So being conscious, intentional, and I don't mean significant, Dori, but just really, there's so many ways that we can be. Who do we want to be? What's the footprint we want to leave behind? And I think about, my 5 kids, and how do I want to show up so that, it's passed forward to my grandchildren one day.
I love the question in the word entrust. What am I entrusted to carry forward? What am I entrusted with? And the word entrust really, for me, elevates the conversation beyond a transactional conversation to something that's more sacred. I'll remove more that is sacred. So I'm sitting with the question of what have I been entrusted with? And part of my job now is to give it away. So I just love the question. Thank you.
Well, I have to end with another paradox. Yes, there's the lightness, the cluelessness, the not taking ourselves so seriously. And the flip side is for me, it really is about, raising our level of consciousness, and especially calling this evening my end from the Middle East, from Israel, where it's VUCA on steroids. It's like, we definitely need a higher level of consciousness here and probably everywhere. And I think that's what I'll take, that I'm entrusted with. And, I'm working on myself and doing my best to help those around me. But I'll start with me first. Got a long ways to go.
I know that I feel very grateful for the coaching profession and all the forces that had me walk into a CTI room, because it's grown me exponentially. It's grown my consciousness, my capacity to live life with more ease, grace, intention, and to contribute, look beyond myself and ask myself, what's my piece in the grand scheme of things? And I think that in a world that's frighteningly polarized, divisive, binary, I have a vision of, again, coaching and coactive coaching, because I can't speak to other brands of coaching. I only know coactive, that it is one of the keys that's going to save ourselves in breaking down barriers and having us step into really loving one another. And I like genuinely loving one another, ourselves first and the other. So we're not divisive and polarized anymore. And that's a big ask of the profession.
It's a big ask and a big discipline, because it's our job to look what there is to love in somebody we don't love, and to stand strong and find that place of connection where I can see the wholeness and the yearning and the love over on the other side. It's a warrior discipline. And we've been training for this for a really long time.
Mm-hmm. And to stay in when we want to run, we want to avoid, we don't want to confront it, to keep looking, stay open, curious. Yeah.
This has been so rich. So rich. I don't want to go. I don't want to stop being in your presence and learning from you.
Yeah. I'm truly so grateful for just all the wisdom, the pointing, and what you have carried and continue to carry forward and steward in this profession, in your lives, in this community. And may those dreams that you all spoke about come true. May they be so.
I don't want to open up the arc again, but I feel like I have to ask this question, and not everyone has to answer it. But like, what is your high dream for how eldership or elderhood is held in our world? And I know you might all have different relationships to this, given the cultures you're from. But can you please put some good, positive energy around how we hold elderhood out into the space for us right now?
Well, I will speak for the baby boom generation. The baby boom generation, with all its selfishness and foibles, has led the way on making different phases of life their own and different. And I am hoping that as we grow older and more solid, we remember that we were always relevant. We're relevant now, and what we carry matters. So this is a direct connection with age. You know, elders are experienced people. They don't have to be Methuselahs. And every year we grow more. And so how do we stay relevant and keep carrying the gifts and spreading them, even if we're no longer officially teaching it in our lives?
The image that comes to mind is a majestic oak tree, standing tall, full canopy of leaves. And I want elders, our elders, myself included, our elders to be seen for the wisdom, the shelter, the stability, the strength, the deep-rooted, how deeply rooted we are. And that we remain beacons for the next generation to come and sit. And what's essential in that relationship is that tree and the sapling, if I carry that with that metaphor, we're learning from one another and we're nurturing one another. I will cease to exist if I stop learning. So I see in this stage of eldership an opportunity for reciprocal mentorship, if you will.
The way I want to hold it is actually inspired by something that the late great Art Shirk shared with me, that we are like the faculty at Hogwarts, like the Dumbledores, and we help create magic and magicians that go out in the world and create more coactive magic. And for me, that image is both playful and mysterious and super cool. And there's also something about an adventure that speaks to me.
I may be speaking about myself here, but I think as we get older, we could actually become narrower in our view, more myopic. And I want to keep myself, open and curious and looking for what's good and right in something that might be scary for me or I don't understand. because the human spirit and potential is infinite, and I don't want to be one of those people who actually closes that down on someone else.
Clark,
Me.
your final
Money,
words.
the older I get, the less I know. And it becomes more clear. And so it reminds me of my grandmother. My grandmother was Okinawan, and she would just sit there and think. She wouldn't do anything. She didn't try to do anything, but everybody moved around her. And one time I was talking, and then she goes, no, they said you have to sit in front of her because she wants to see you. And so I just did, and it reminds me of so much respect there, a respect for who she was, respect all the way through who I am, respect myself. And then, as we're doing in this conversation, respecting our elders. And then, I guess we're part of that crowd too. And then the next generation will be also in that place. And so nurturing the respect and the wisdom that comes from who we are.
She was your oak tree.
Mm.
Yeah.
You were the sapling, and now you're the oak tree.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to each and every one of you. This has been like a meditation, a prayer, lots of good medicine. And so thank you to our listeners who are tuning in. We hope it really fuels them as well and feeds them well.
I want to appreciate you both, that you are taking this torch and you're running with it and you're lighting a path for those who follow you. Thank you for what you bring, who you are, and what you're creating in the world.
Here, here.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Top 10 podcasts.
Yeah, wouldn't be here without each of you and all of your elders and mentors. So,
And thank you for
That's for
inviting
sure.
us, because in the invitation and listening to you all, it's given, I think, all of us the opportunity to claim who we are at this stage, or embrace who we are at this stage in our lives. And we're needed. Each of us are needed.
And also connect with old friends.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Fantastic.
So good to see your faces again.